Hey, so yesterday I got on Facebook Live for the first time ever and began a little journey that I hope to continue taking us through for the rest of this month, at least several times through the month. And that is, I wrote a book back in, I believe it was the late 1990s, and I carried that book around probably for nearly a decade before, I believe it was Thanksgiving weekend of 2008. I was at my dad's house and I had been reading a book by Urban McManus called Wide Awake, which just really challenged me and encouraged me to put things out there that God had created me to help create a better future, and that we all carry these things around that we don't publish or we don't put out. And so my dad just encouraged me after I was talking with him about that to publish it. So we found a website and self published it just for fun to get it out there, and have made it available as a free PDF copy if anybody wants it. And I think I own the only physical copy of it anywhere in the world. Where is the Hope by yours truly. And I just thought this week, why not share it again? Why not put it out there in a new medium, in a new format? And so yesterday I began by reading some excerpts from the introduction. And today I want to continue that journey and read from chapter 1. Don't write them off, as read by the author. So here we go. Chapter 1 of Where is the Hope? The relationship began as no other relationship had ever begun. Their love was mutual. The love the father had for his children and the love they had for the father was obvious. He provided for them better than any father could provide for his children. He gave them a beautiful place to live, a plush garden full of beautiful trees and plants that produced good food. He even provided them with his version of a sprinkler system to care for the trees and plants. He gave them more pets than anyone could imagine. They were like kids in a petting zoo. Oh, how he loved to visit with his children. Every day he would walk and talk with them in the garden. He was like an excited grandpa with his grandchildren. His love for them was amazing. He gave them anything they desired. He would even give them his own life if he had to. In fact, one day he actually would. Because you see, as wonderful as the relationship was, it eventually tumbled. What happened? How could a relationship this great ever deteriorate? I'm sure you remember the story. The serpent slithered in and convinced them that what God said really wasn't true. She ate, he ate, they both disobeyed, and then they were ashamed. For the first time in their life, they hid from the Father when he came to visit. I used to wonder why he didn't write them off, why he didn't just say, okay, you blew it, I have had it with you, this relationship is over forever. That's how we normally respond when a relationship comes crumbling down. I never wonder that anymore. The reason is seen in his response. God came into the garden during the cool of the day after they severed the relationship and responded with love and grace. Instead of going ballistic, he asked the first question we have recorded from his lips. He stood in the garden like a parent who just lost his children because he had. And with what I imagine had to be volumes of emotion, he asked the first question that he ever asked in Scripture: where are you? And the search began. The father looking for his children. He then instituted a plan to bring them back, to restore that relationship, a painstaking plan that he knew he would have to use even before he created his children. And the search he began then continues today. The Father searching for his lost children. Because, by the way, time out. Ever since the Garden of Eden, we have been moving east of the garden. And we have a loving, incredible, amazing Father who always searches and longs and looks for his children to come home. He is always asking, where are you? Time back in. It's a search that we too should be involved in. Looking for those who have yet to obey and striving to restore the relationship for those who once obeyed but no longer are obedient to his voice. James, who happens to be the brother of Jesus, closes his book with a strong plea and command for us to be involved in searching for and then restoring the relationship of the children with the Father. Eugene Peterson's translation, The Message, says it best. My dear friends, if you know people who have wandered off from God's truth, don't write them off. Go after them. Get them back, and you will have rescued precious lives from destruction and prevented an epidemic of wandering away from God. That's James 5:19 and 20. That's the message the Father had when he asked back in the garden, where are you? And ever since, he's been searching. Would that we would do the same. The Father's message to us regarding his lost children, our lost family, is simple. Don't write them off. Go after them. That message and mission should consume us like it consumes the Father. Why? Because we all know those who started out in a great relationship with the Father and then allowed it to vanish. And just as God saved us from destruction, so will we have rescued precious lives from destruction, if we will only pray to God and earnestly and tenderly plead with others to come home. So I beg you, just as the Father responded with compassion to his children in the garden, as you are reminded of those who are no longer obedient children, remember, don't write them off. Go after them right now. So folks, that is chapter 1 of Where is the Hope. Tomorrow or the next day, I'll probably read chapter 2. If you're curious, it's called The King of the Jungle. But let me just say this as I sign off for today. I imagine you, like me, know someone who started out perhaps in a good relationship with the Father, but they have wandered off and they continue to wander east of Eden. I would encourage you to stop what you're doing today, to pray for them, to lift them up, to text them, to call them, to not write them off. Go after them right now. I hope you have a great day.